need to prepare for this video because I have a feeling that it's going to be difficult for me to get through, but I'm doing it anyways. Not because I enjoy it, but because I want to document some of the things that my aunt is saying. I want to make sure that I have it documented here on my channel because oftentimes if somebody questions her on something, she'll just delete the video and then it looks like I'm lying because I don't watch her videos anymore. I don't back them up for proof. She can easily just delete it and say, well, I never said that. She's done it in the past, and so I want to make sure that I simply document her exact words so that she can no longer say that I'm twisting her words or that I'm making things up or that she never said that. Even if she deletes this video, it will be documented here. Okay, so some of you may or may not know what actually is going on. A lot of you do. But I've gotten a few new subscribers today. So it's very possible that there's 2 of you that still have no clue what is happening. And I would love to be able to fill you in just a little bit. The video I'm about to watch, which y'all can see I'm rather large, and the other half of the screen is going to be taken up too. But that doesn't matter because my aunt's videos don't normally have anything worthy of looking at. See, she doesn't show her face because she looks a bit like the Crypt Keeper if he was addicted to fentanyl. So there's nothing really to see in her videos except for scenery, plants, babies that think that they're better than you. Sorry, I'm trying really hard to get through this video without dipping into that judgmental area because that is not going to help anything. If we're ever to get anything actually done about this or anything actually figured out, one of us has to learn how to be rational and hold in our emotions long enough to actually speak and genuinely communicate. It's hard to do with 2 people who are literally loaded rockets waiting to explode in each other's faces. So a little bit about my aunt and why this is happening. I mean, if it's possible to explain why this is happening. The aunt in question, her name is Kathy, and she is my mother's older sister. And so, essentially, my entire life, I have felt like this woman has hated me. I mean, absolutely despised me. And I never knew why. Got some chai tea, so I can sip on my tea when I want to say something later. Anyways, I never knew why I thought my aunt hated me. And of course, if anybody questioned her about it, she'd say, oh, she's just making things up. But I always felt disliked by the woman. Never felt accepted by her, ever. She's good at making people believe that that's not the case, though. For instance, about, I guess it was a couple of months before my grandmother broke her hip, they came down to visit, and I had so much anxiety and panic about being around them because of the way that they've always been, that a friend of mine who had just had a baby offered to have me come and stay with them, help her out with her baby. At one point we got to talking, and I explained to her why I didn't want to be at the house while my aunt and her. And my friend was like, that's ridiculous. You know, no family feels that way about their relative. I'm understanding. You know, you have these mental health issues, and it's easy to feel like you're being persecuted or you're being hated when you have borderline personality, which I have, and bipolar disorder, which I have. And that's true. You know, let me go ahead and put that out front. That is absolutely true. It is part of my disorder that I feel attacked very easily, and I feel offended very easily, and I do take things very personal. You'll notice that my aunt does as well. Anyways, my friend really wanted to try to find some kind of middle ground because she just could not see me going back home and still having this broken relationship with my family. So she called my grandmother's house while they were there, and she asked to speak to my aunt. And she hung up the phone with the biggest smile on her face, and she said, "She doesn't hate you. It's just your mental illness making you think that. She loves you. They all love and support you and want what's best for you, and they never understand why you don't stick around when they're there." The day my grandmother passed away, my aunt informed me by knocking on my door and then yelling through it, "Your grandmother's dead, and I think you should know that there is no will." I was entirely abandoned, and my friend, who had tried so hard to convince me that I was wrong about my family feeling that way, saw that, and she apologized to me for not believing me, because it was very clear to her that everything I had said was true, and she had been manipulated into not believing me, just like everybody else. So, after my grandmother passed away, that was in 2015, she broke her hip. She was on the telephone, she hung up, and she lost her balance. She stumbled backwards and fell against the piano leg, and she broke her hip, and she managed to hang on for 5 weeks before she passed away to pneumonia. In that time, one of her lungs collapsed, and she re-inflated it like herself. Like, she was a strong woman, but she was also very sick at that point. That year, she had been very sick. She had spent most of the year in the hospital. She really didn't even want to go back to the hospital when she fell because she didn't want to be admitted for another long-time stay. She had just came out of a 3-month stay there, where they released her against their better judgment because she was not really able to come home. She wasn't eating. You know, Kathy loves to tell people that her mother was malnourished. She doesn't bother to tell them that she spent 3 months in the hospital and would not eat. And they were literally begging her to eat. And the doctor had to get his personal cheese from his freezer. And then my grandmother was so happy, telling everybody how her doctor loved her so much that he gave her his personal cheese, and all the nurses were talking about how he never gives anybody his cheese. It was a lot, okay? There was a lot happening that Kathy might not be aware of because she was not fully around. She loves telling people that she was there at the moment she died, but she kind of glosses over how I was there all the time. I lived with her. And she got snippy on my Facebook after my grandmother passed. You know, everybody, when somebody passes, everybody writes their own personal post about the person. My aunt posted on mine, "At least I was there when it happened." I tried to be there when it happened, not that I wanted to see it happen, but because my other aunt had called me and asked me to have Kathy come up there, and I woke Kathy up, and then I went up there myself. And I was asked to go back home because she wanted her sister there. So I did. And then I was made to feel ashamed for that just hours later by my family that claims to be so loving and supportive. I'm not going to let myself cry in this video. So, let's go ahead and watch the most recent video she's made, just so I can document what she said. And I will try not to get too emotional or upset. She's been making videos about me for quite a while. She's gone on multiple radio shows on YouTube, on Twitch, and she has slandered me to the point that people are giving me death threats. It's really made my life hard, and this year my life was supposed to get better. This is the year that I got my Section 8. They waited until I had something before they began breaking me down again. Anyways, let's go over to it. Okay, so I did forget to add in one more thing. The main reason she says that she hates me so much is because I published a book last year. The book was titled I'll Never Stop Screaming, Memoirs of a Broken Soul by Adrasdea. It's for sale at Smashwords, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Amazon, anywhere you buy books. But they're also giving it away free in multiple places because they hate me and want to make sure nobody buys it. The book has no names. There was absolutely nothing in the book connecting my aunt or anybody else in my family to my book. It didn't even have my name on it. It has the name Adrasdea. That's not my legal name. That's not a name that's going to connect back to my family. It's not my family name. Anyways, so that's the half-assed excuse that she's giving for why she hates me so much. But being honest, she has been like this with me my entire life. And the reason I was always told, and this is what my grandmother told me, right? My grandmother used to always say that she was just jealous of me. And I always thought, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why would she be jealous of me? I don't have anything. My parents hate me. My sisters hate me. I felt like the black sheep, the outcast of the family. And you're telling me that somebody else in the family that's much, much older and doing better is jealous of me? As like a 6-year-old kid? What's there to be jealous of? What there was to be jealous of was my grandmother's love. It was essentially a sibling rivalry situation with a sibling that wasn't a sibling and didn't live in the same home, but felt shaded by how much attention I was given when her children were not given that same amount of attention, because my grandmother had 36 grandchildren when she passed away. I'm the only one that she part raised. The only one. She raised all of her siblings. One of her siblings she actually adopted as a daughter later in life because they were so close and it made them both feel more bonded for her to be officially her mother. She wanted to adopt me, and my parents wouldn't allow her because they wanted me for the tax. I guess they got money off their taxes for every child they had. In lieu of being allowed to adopt me, my grandmother took me whenever possible to try to save me from what she knew was happening in that house. What everybody knew was happening in that house. My grandfather was the one that had the money My grandmother worked all her life, but she didn't make a whole lot. Women back then didn't. But my grandfather, he had money. He took care of us. I need a moment, I'm sorry. Okay, my grandfather had children of his own, but him and his ex had a falling out, and she had put a lot of things in their heads that weren't true, and it caused him to have a falling out with his own children. So when I was born in my grandmother's car, then they took me in. It was like my grandmother and my grandfather having a child, and it helped to connect them. It helped both of them to have a child again, and to have a child together, where they wouldn't have that much later in life. When I was 7 years old, there was a big fight in the family. And I don't know what it was about because I was 7 years old. What I do know is that the wills were changed and everything was left to me. Literally everything. Everything on my grandfather's side and everything on my grandmother's side. Everybody else was written out for some reason. My grandfather at that time created a trust that he put the property that we were living on at that time in. He set it to where it would not open until I was 35 years old. Somebody was supposed to take care of it until then, because he believed that before the age of 35, a person was not mature enough to handle such a responsibility as the 3 acres of land cherished. I probably would not have been emotionally mature enough to handle it, but it would have sure thought if I had actually been able to receive it. Instead, when my grandmother passed away, all of the copies of the will suddenly disappeared. I was told I would have to get a lawyer that would cost $10,000 that I didn't have. And if I couldn't get that lawyer, they just would not read the will. That's what happened with that. In 2020, when the trust finally unlocked, because that was my 35th birthday, my little sister started sending me text messages that the family was suing me over my book. Over a couple of days, it evolved from being a lawsuit to being they're finally reading the will. But they refused to give me an address of where to go or what time to be there. She told me the date and said I would have to figure everything else out myself. And obviously, I wasn't going to be able to do that. So whatever court case they had about that inheritance, they won simply because I didn't show up. Because I was homeless in California and they didn't give me enough information about it. Okay. I think that's all the backstory that's really needed. Let's get into the actual show.
Well, Mary, I got interested. I got to say something. You don't have to watch my videos. You don't have to watch anybody's, because you don't listen to what people say to begin with. You create whatever you want them to have said. That's what you just go off on a tangent. And there's videos that prove that, like your reaction videos to that one I did. You were totally in another universe. But that ain't what I'm talking about. There's a couple of things You know, you have trashed every single person that has ever had any contact with you. Even those that have given you money, you have lashed out.
All right, so I'm already going to pause it because she's already lying. And this is a lie that I can prove. She says, and she says this without a doubt, that I have trashed every single person who has ever spoken to me, even once any money. Spoke to somebody a little bit ago who I had to edit out her name because I know that people will attack her. But here's a message that I made. Okay, there it is. I asked her, let me turn my face off here.
Single person.
I'm sorry. Back again. Need to shut down. Let me pause it. Okay, here it is. So, I am in blue, and I said, would you mind helping me with an example? I won't share your name. In my aunt's newest video, she claims I have trashed every single person who has ever helped me. Do you, as a person who has supported me, feel I have ever intentionally trashed you or hurt you? Her reply is, never. And it's just ludicrous for that vile woman to even imply so. You're a kind soul to me, albeit standoffish, but I realize why. And I have never hurt you. I know you would never hurt me. So essentially, she is confirming that she has helped me. She is a supporter of me. She is a friend. And I have never done anything to make her feel like I have trashed her. That makes what my aunt just said a lie. Because I can find at least 5 to 10 more people that I could ask that same question to and essentially get that same response. Now, the reason specifically that she says a single person that I've ever come across is a gaslighting technique. She wants you all to believe that I am this horrible person who just randomly attacks people. I'm not. And I've just proved that. So let's go back to my loving aunt. You know, I don't really want to call her my aunt anymore. You know, legally that is her title, but I don't believe in my case that she deserves it. So I'm going to try to just call her Kathy because she only by blood is my aunt.
That has ever had any contact with you.
Proven a lie.
That have given you money.
Proven a lie.
Lashed out at every single person. And I just want to share something with you. I looked at the titles of over 500 videos. I just skimmed over them. And out of over 500, you only had 19 of you doing something other than crying, begging, blaming one of the many people that have been in and out of your life. Yet, I mean, you spent, that's amazing to me. I only looked at over 500 and only 19, and that was giving you the benefit of the doubt, was just a day for you. Not a day that you did anything productive, but just.
All right, so I feel the need that I need to prove her wrong again because she is once again lying by saying in the last 500 videos I've only made 19 where I wasn't having a nervous breakdown. I'm going to have to log into my YouTube and show y'all my videos to do that, but it's going to be very, very easy to prove this. Hold on. Okay, so here we have my playlists. We've got 3 book readings that I just very recently did. I don't know why that's just come up there. I must have put that on my playlist and it just come back. Anyways, I've got my games folder, which has 90 uploads. I've got full public domain movies. There's 4 of them in there. 3 of them are watchable. The kid is still having trouble. There's 6 Beyond Belief episodes. I've already passed 19, right? 55 singing videos, 7 Beverly Hills, 10 Illusion of Gaia, 9 Florida, 18 Pokemon Red, 11 Weed, 9 news reviews, 27 more games, except these I'm bad at, 37 for the Earthbound SNES run-through, 5 in the Wizard of Oz book trilogy thing, 30 in my trip from Florida to California, 3 in my book, 8 in Yoshi's Island, 38 from Chrono Trigger, 22 in Pokemon Yellow, and 19 from Pokemon Emerald. And I will remind you guys that these last 3 at least are at least hour-long videos. Most of them are close to an hour-long video. So that's 38 hours, 22 hours, and 19 hours of content, not 19 videos, 19 hours. And these are not all of my videos because I have not been playlisting all of my videos. There is a lot that I haven't been playlisting. And I bet you anything that the comment that's trying to come up right now is something hateful. How much y'all want to put money on it? Niece is a dried up old wench. Hey, it is something hateful, but it's not about me. Love it. Okay, well, I think I've proven my point. Because she has once again lied. And it was an easy lie to prove. All you have to do is look at my videos. Okay, so not very far into this 8.5-minute video, we've come across 2 lies that were very easily disproven. It's not looking great, but let's keep going. I like that. My video player just stopped the bullshit by itself. I only hit play, it stopped itself.
Just a day for you. Not a day that you did anything productive, but just a day that you weren't crying or begging or talking about somebody. That's sad. That is really a sad place to be. And you should look at just the sum.
It is sad. It is sad what has been happening to me. It is sad that I do spend so much of my time in inner turmoil, in tears, begging to be understood, begging for support, that this woman, as my family member, is the one that is supposed to be providing, because she is my family member. And your family, you're meant to believe that your family is your biggest supporters. Mine has always been my biggest defeaters, my biggest bullies. But I will agree with you that I cry a lot. Nearly every day of my life, I cry. I am a sad person. There's a lot of pain and misery in my heart and in my soul that I can't cry out. And the fact that you're using that as a reason to put me down is exactly why I need to document these sorts of things, so that if anybody sees these videos other than the people who are working with you and despise me, watch them, they might be able to see what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. Imagine having a niece who struggled with severe mental health issues and severe depression, suicidal feelings, ideations. I used to self-harm quite badly. I have scars from it that are bad. She knows that I've always had these problems. Never once has she tried to lift me up and help me through them. It has always been a bullying, tormenting situation where I was or told that I was weak or told that I had nothing to cry about when she had no idea what I was going through, and clearly still doesn't.
Other videos, and look at the pictures that you leave up there for them to see, people to see. It is pathetic, because every single one on your face, like something out of a horror movie, with your mouth open. I mean, none of them are flattering, none of them, and none of them provoke pity or sympathy. Trust me on that, none of them. You know, in a way, because you're 36 years old, you say, well, when I think I'm ready, I'll get a job. I have to tell you something, because as a grown person, somebody needs to tell you this. If you can't wait to be in your 60s, and guess what? You have nothing to fall back on, nothing. Do you not realize that you will not be able to collect any Social Security, no retirement, because you haven't paid in nothing? Do you understand that?
I have to stop it again because she's lying. She's lying again. So here she's essentially saying that I've never worked, never paid taxes, never paid into my Social Security. I did. When I was married to my first husband, I worked a lot. I was working 2 jobs at a time for 4 years straight. At one time, my husband sprained his knee real bad, and I was working 3 jobs so that he could take some time off and heal. So, yes, I have actually paid taxes. I have actually put money into the Social Security system. But here's the thing. She seems to believe that when I turn 60 or something, I'm just going to be thrown out on the gutters. The government isn't out to put people on the streets. They really do try to work with people. If you have a genuine illness, they don't want you out there roaming the streets. The reason I have a home is because my mental illnesses are severe enough that the government believes I'm safer indoors, and that's where it's going to be best for me to get help and to start to heal so that I one day can work. I never said that I was never going to work again. I don't work right now because I'm not capable of working right now. I have been through a lot, and I'm not able to handle a lot. I have already shown y'all how hard it is for me to even talk about some of this stuff in the last couple of minutes that I've been recording. It's hard to focus on a job when you're so wrapped up with inner pain that you can't get through a day without crying for seemingly no reason. Until I get past that, until I get to a place where I can go a full day without crying, I'm not going to be able to hold a job. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. Do you want your cashier at McDonald's breaking down in tears because she forgot to give you 2 cents? And chasing you down to make sure you get those 2 pennies like a crazy person? Because I would. I would totally be doing that. I would freak out over every single tiny mistake and beat myself up to the point that I was a shivering mess. That's what I do, because it's all I've ever known. If I make the smallest mistake, it's always been treated like such a big thing by everybody else that, like, this is, you can never go back from this. It'll never get better. You know, and my aunt is showing that right now by her assertion that just because I haven't worked since the murder took place, that I'll never work, and I just don't want to, and I'm not trying. She doesn't know me. And it's an extremely judgmental belief that people should just get over their mental health issues and get jobs. But I really just wanted to break in to let y'all know that yes, I would have some sort of social security because yes, I did work at one time. And I'm working on getting on welfare so that I can hopefully have an income to start taking care of myself, which if I got on it, it would last until I got well enough to take care of myself. And I'm not making up all of my problems. If they didn't believe that I was truly struggling and going through what I'm going through, they would not have approved me for this Section 8. There are people sleeping out on those sidewalks right now who can't get into Section 8 because somebody or other doesn't believe that they're worth it, doesn't believe that they're going to be able to stay off the drugs, doesn't believe that they're going to be able to stay in therapy. I had to be in active therapy on medication and everything for a full year before we could even apply for me to be on Section 8. That is nothing. It's working with a therapist and being a full year before they would even think about giving me a voucher. And then it was another year before I got that voucher. And then almost another year before I actually found a place that would let me stay. Because we kept finding places that would say it was fine and then find out Section 8 and raise the price because they wanted more and we couldn't pay more. It was a set price, so we got denied. But yeah, I have worked. I have put money into Social Security.
And you don't understand that. But you are going to be in a fine pickle jar, let me tell you, when you get in your 60s. Trust me on that one, you really will. I'm grateful for the life I've led because I had enough sense to know that I wasn't going to stand out on the corner and be laying in bed and have to feed myself. You know, every person in my family, my family that I refer to at home, and my other family in Florida, the ones I grew up with, you have talked negatively about each and every one of us. Every one of us. But yet,
I have spoken honestly. If you want to believe that negativity and honesty are the same things, that's your prerogative. Everything I have said is true to me. Now, if I believe something that's untrue, I'll most likely be able to show you evidence of why I believe it's untrue. You know, like they're saying that they never actually sued me. Well, I'm still going to believe that they did because I'm mentally ill and I received dozens of text messages from my little sister saying, "We're suing you. Kathy gave me all the information I need. Just so you know, you're fucked. We're going to take the truck you live in and leave you pissing in a gutter." That was my own little sister. While I was living in a truck that my family did not give to me. They were threatening to sue me and take it away from me. So, I speak honestly. That's all I can say about that. If you're upset because I've said something that you didn't want people to know, maybe you should not have destroyed my inheritance and left me to be homeless. Because if y'all had kept me as a part of the family, I wouldn't have spoken out. I never would have felt strong enough to. I never spoke out about any of you while I was with you. I always felt controlled, overpowered. Nikki even told me that if I showed up to that will reading, I would be in danger from your sons. What reason do I have to speak nicely of people who have never liked me? Your daughter called me a bitch when I was just 13 years old. Your other daughter said I couldn't swim in the pool with them because I was trash. My parents threw me away, and they didn't swim with garbage. And I know she denies saying that, and you deny her saying that, but I remember it. See, when you're a cruel, hateful person, you'll say cruel, hateful things every day and forget what you've said. But the person that you said it to, they're likely to remember it for the rest of their lives. No matter how vehemently you and Sarah deny that conversation, I still remember my cousin telling me when I was just a kid that my parents threw me away, and that's why Meemaw took me. And that's why I was always around. Nobody wanted me. Nobody would ever want me. She was also a child, and she learned that from you. Take that in for a second.
Out of all of us, there's not one like you. There's not a one that you talked about that was not productive, had homes, work, families, made a better life for themselves. None, not a one. You can go.
Okay. I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that you can be an extremely hateful person and still go on to have a life and still go on to have a job and a career and family and friends who are equally hateful. I don't know what that has to do with me. Just because I'm not able to be productive in this moment. This is just a moment in my life. As you said, I'm 36 years old. I'm only 36 years old. And I'll never have children. That gives me a whole lot of time to figure things out for the next couple of years. What were you doing at 36? Raising kids? Makes you better than me? Sorry, I just don't see it. The ability to have children does not make one woman better than another woman. The ability to find a husband that was rich and could take care of you does not make one woman better than another woman. What makes one person better than another person is how they treat other people. It has nothing to do with where they live, how big their house is, how many kids they have, how many friends they have. If those friends can't trust you or talk shit behind your back, they're not really friends. Sorry.
And search everything you won't find another one like you. So according to you, you're the only one in the world ever created that just needs 60 years to heal. To heal.
Okay. So that is exaggeration, which is another form of gas. Again, I am 36 years old. Therefore, I have not taken 60 years from anything because I am only 36 years old. This is not a job interview that I'm showing up and they're telling me I need 40 years experience. Okay? So, Kathy's saying that I've been trying to heal from this for 60 years. Let's do a timeline of events here in my life, from my perspective, right? Born in a car. Mother immediately abandons me. My grandmother, when she found me, there was a rat eating a hole in my leg. A scar that I still have on my thigh proves that. She told me that story when I was very young because all children ask about the scars on their bodies that they've forgotten how they got them. I asked her how I got that one on my thigh and she explained it to me. And it's not something you easily forget, that your own mother allowed a rat to eat a hole in your little baby flesh while she was standing right there in the kitchen just staring. "18 years of drunkenness, of drugs, sexual abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse. When I was 13, my grandmother told me that my father is the reason my little brother was the way he was. That was hard to cope with at 13 years old. But she needed me to know that because it was the same time that he had begun driving me to her house, and she wanted me to know what kind of a man he really was so that I could protect myself. No child should ever have to protect themselves from their father. At the time, I didn't realize that it was so abusive because it was all I knew. And I thought that it was happening in every house. I thought every other kid was laying in bed at night listening to their mother scream in agony. She was being beat and wondering if she was going to die and whether he was going to kill us afterwards or if we would go to foster homes or what would happen. How many children were laying in their beds wondering what would happen to them if their parents killed themselves that night? Probably not as many as I thought there were at the time. After that 18 years, I got married. I didn't do anything to begin my healing process. I was completely insane by that time too. I was in and out of mental hospitals. They diagnosed me at that time as borderline personality and bipolar. But I didn't really take medication because everybody in the family believed that there was nothing wrong with me. We were all that way, so I didn't need to take the medication. It made me weird. And I wasn't sick. I was just stupid and lazy. I put off getting actual mental help for decades because of the family's denial that I had any mental health problems. My teachers knew. They were trying to get me therapy from the time I was a kid. They were sending letters home to my parents asking to have me see a therapist that they would bring to the school to speak to me. My parents wouldn't let me because they were afraid of what I would say. So, birth to 18, living in a war zone. 19 to 23, living in a smaller war zone. Because my ex-husband was also abusive. And at that time, my father committed suicide. I was working 2 jobs at a time. My mother ran away at one point, and me and my husband took her in and spent a lot of money taking care of her just to find out that she didn't give a fuck about me. My mom ran away, right? She finally got tired of being beaten. She ran away. Family contacts us about 3 months later, says she made it up to like New Orleans. They took her in because they felt sorry for her, but they wanted her gone. They took her in to be her housekeeper, but they had to get rid of her. They finally got out of her my contact information. Me and my at the Greyhound station. I took her shopping. I was working at the time and had money. And my mother the things that she always wanted. She always said she never went to church because she didn't have nice enough clothes. To finally have that nice enough dress. And I could afford it. And I took her shopping. We went back home and she seemed happy. And then we went shopping for food. Filled the cart. Got in line and she went back and grabbed about a case of beer. And started walking back with it, and I said, no. If you're going to live with me, I'll buy you anything in the world you need. But not alcohol. My entire childhood, she had been an alcoholic. I wasn't going to allow it in my home. I didn't drink at the time. I didn't do any drugs at all. Believe it or not. She sat down on the floor there at the grocery store and had a fit, screaming that if I didn't buy her the alcohol, she didn't want any of it. I pushed the buggy aside and I walked out and left the store. She came out a couple of minutes later, got in the car with her arms crossed. We went home. A couple hours later, she asked me if I'd give her a ride back to the mall. I said, yeah, what do you need? She said, I want to take these clothes back. And I asked her, oh, do they not fit? Do you want something different? No, I want to return them for the money. I'd rather. It wasn't very long after that I took her back to my father. She wanted to go back to him. He would let her drink as much as she wanted. And all she had to do was take a good beating now and then. What a deal, right? It was also soon after that my dad killed himself. So apparently, neither of them were really able to take each other anymore, but neither of them wanted to be away from each other anymore either. It had become such a codependent, abusive relationship. After I finally left my husband, it was only a couple of months later when Kenneth came into my life. With his fake name and his fake occupation and his big promises. From 2009 to about 2013, I had problems with drinking and drugs. In 2013, my grandmother had a heart attack and the doctors told me that she couldn't live alone, so if I couldn't be there with her all the time, they would have to put her in a home. And I detoxed from everything that I was on. While she was in the hospital, I locked myself in my room and I detoxed from the morphine and everything else. And I told myself that I was going to take care of her. It was more important than running away from the pain. And I successfully did come off the drugs. Now I just smoke weed, which of course is still seen as a drug by them because anything to demonize me. That gave me 2 years of being sober and having a home to live in to start healing without actually seeking any treatment because the family is so ashamed of mental health treatments that I couldn't. And so I wasn't healing then. And then I became homeless in 2015, and I stayed homeless until 2021, which, if you aren't aware, is this year. So you're saying I've had 60 years to heal from my life. The reality is I've had 9 months to begin the process of healing. And in that time, I've been harassed endlessly by men telling me they're going to rape me and murder me, and mailing me shovels to prove to me that they know where I live and already have the shovel to bury me with. But continuing, I just wanted to point out I have not been alive for 60 years to heal from everything that I have experienced. And as for the fact that everybody else in my family is prospering and doing better, good for them. Their achievements don't negate mine. I'm not them. I'm not trying to be them. I'm trying to be me. When you're coming to somebody and judging their illnesses, comparing them to other people, it's a little like, say you had like a very mild form that you got over fairly quickly, went into remission from. And once a week or so, you like to go to the oncology ward at the hospital and ask people how long they've been fighting and tell them, shit, I beat that so fast. You must be weak. I mean, if I got over it, and obviously it's the same cancer, so what the fuck's the problem? Why don't you just get over it already? You know? It doesn't sound right, does it? It sounds pretty shitty.
And by the way, well, I can't go into it right now because it's too much, but just the trash that you talk, I don't know what you think. I think maybe you think it makes you look better.
I have to pause it for a second because actually my fridge has recently turned on and now I can't hear her. I downloaded this video so that I could turn up the sound to make sure I could hear her because her audio is so soft. So I gotta pause this until my fridge shuts down and I can hear a little louder. Even though I don't really want to hear her because this is genuinely making me sick. It's almost over though. Look, we're like at the halfway point of an 8-minute video. That's like 4 minutes, and it's only been an hour that I've been explaining everything. This is going by so fast. Kill me. I may or may not have just unplugged it. Okay, so I don't want to finish this video. I really don't. I really don't. Because it's like, it's nothing but the same thing that happens every time I speak to anybody in my family, which is why I no longer contact anybody in my family. It's like playing a goddamn game of lie, lie, gaslight. Instead of duck, duck, goose. Lie, 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 gaslight. Lie, 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 victimize. Lie, lie, blame. My children are better than you. Your children were grown up in a different environment than me. You seem to forget that when you brag about how well your daughter and your sons are doing. They had a different mother and father than I did because they're your daughter, your sons. And you supposedly are Wonder Mom, who would have given them the best childhood ever. What would they have? Why wouldn't they be successful? You're comparing people who had wonderful lives because you mothered them, remember? You often talk about what a wonderful human being you are, so you must have been a perfect mother. There would have been nothing for your children to have to overcome. Unlike me, you know what my mom went through. You know what my father was.
It justifies the way you are, but it doesn't. Because, see, I'm still around. And tomorrow when I get home, it's going to be, I'm so excited because I have all those videos to go through, and I'm going to share them because it's going to be so much fun. Because they're not going to see the people that you talk about or that you describe. They're going to see happy, good people that work and have nice homes and be there.
Okay, so again, victim blaming. You know, you're so miserable, you're so hateful, and then I'm going to show videos of them being perfect and being loving and being happy because they know they're being videoed and they're the perfect family, and prove that none of the things that happen to you actually happen because they're not like that with other people. Many abusive families act differently when cameras are on, when other people are around, or when the specific person being abused is not there. Just gonna point that out. The way an abuser acts around other people has absolutely no correlation to how an abuser acts with their victim. My father could talk anybody into anything. He was charming, he was manipulative, he was charismatic, he was smart. No matter how many times the police were called on him, most times he could talk them out of taking anybody in. He knew what to do, and people believed him. He had friends who would say that he would never do any of the things that I know he did, because he did them behind closed doors. And when he was in his truck as rock and roll, he was not the same man who came through that door at night. The fact that your family is happy and supportive of each other does not mean that they're happy and supportive of me. You're not going to be showing a whole lot of videos of them happily supporting me. I'm not going to be in them, so what reason would there be for them to be acting that way? If they were around me, if there were ever cameras around us, it would have been different. But you're comparing the way abusers are acting, and your children, it's not their fault. You raised them to hate me. The things they said to me when I was a child were not there. They were hateful and they were hurtful, but it's not their fault because it's how you raised them. So even though it hurts me and I'm upset by it, I don't blame your children to treat me. I blame you to treat me that way. You raised them to believe that I was nothing but garbage that my mother threw away, and your loving mother picked it and had to roll around in.
Buy their own food, and you are truly a selfish. Let me say it one more time. You are a selfish, lazy, spoiled brat that refuses to do anything for yourself, and you are in that alone. Because every single person that you have trashed online, including, Adonis Paul, J.J. Stone, even me, my family, anybody that you've ever encountered. And think about this. One video of you being positive or having somebody longer than a minute that you haven't cussed out and used to your advantage. Poor, pitiful Mary. Poor, pitiful, pathetic, trifling Mary. Poor trifling thing. You got to stop. You need to take a look at what you've done and what you've got out there. Quit talking about people that's going to prove you wrong. Because my life will stand on its own, dummy. And I didn't call you stupid, I called you dumb. You make dumb decisions. Make big dumb decisions. Like you don't plan nothing. Don't think about nothing. All your plan is to destroy. You're here to kill, steal, and destroy. That's what you want. That's your goal. And that's a pretty good sign of evil, if you ask me. In fact, that's what I've been taught anyway. and I know I'm encountering it with you. You spend every single second of your day looking to get somebody mad at you, so that you can get upset and whine and cry and get you a little leverage for that one person out there who hasn't gave you any money yet. But fair warning, go ahead and give it to her. But when you do, she gonna cuss you out and trash you like she does everybody else. Every single person that she has trashed, and you go and look at the names. My name, I counted my name 200 times before I lost count. 200 times in your videos. You got more videos. Your videos are either about me or someone else, or trashing someone that you've known for a minute. None of them are positive. But you're not making yourself look any better, because I am around. And I'm going to show anyone and everyone, and like you said, it's forever. And they'll forever be there to counteract everything you say about them. Let me get off the soapbox, because I'm going home tomorrow, and I'm ready to go through all those videos that I have, because, I want to share this with you. At 36 years old, how many years are you going to take laying up there healing? I mean, you don't have much time. You don't have much time. You can't wake up at...
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't have much time. Why? Reckon why, Kathy? I'm only 36 years old. What's going to happen to me? I don't have that much time. Why not? Are you planning something? Do you know something that I don't? Because I'm only 36 years old. I don't know how much time you think people last on this earth. I guess you think you're, amazing for living to 70, and that normal people don't do that, so I must be ready to die by 50. My life's half over at 36. You might be projecting more than a little bit, because I have quite a lot of years ahead of me. And you keep saying that I don't have long before I'm going to be completely fucked. How so? How does that work? And who are you to put a time limit on my mental health? Who are you to put a time limit on anybody's healing? Again, you're going to the oncology ward and rubbing it in people's faces that you got over cancer faster than them. You're not better than me just because... What? Because you say you are? Because you had kids that you didn't beat the shit out of, so they were able to go on and have relationships and happy families? And congratulations. You're not better than me just because of that. I'm sorry. You're not going to convince me that what you have in life makes you a better person than what I have in life. And I'm aware in life right now I have nothing. I'm working on it, building up from literally ground zero, because most people build up their lives the first 18 years. They're preparing to go out and be on their own. Their parents are preparing them. My parents didn't prepare us for anything, except that my mom's only advice was to stay pretty and marry rich so that we would never have to work. That was literally our mom's advice to us.
Older and realize that you've done nothing and you're going to get nothing, and they're not going to give you anything. But that's what's going to happen, because you're too, at some point someone said no to you, and you're determined to prove that you can fulfill this life without ever hitting a lick. But I'm going to tell you something, the way it's going now, that lick, you're going to be wishing you had a lick. So, let me get off here. I'll be back in a little bit to talk to people I like.
Thank God. Okay, well, that's over. Okay. I said I was going to try to get through that with as little judgment and condescension as I could, but can you understand how hard it is when being confronted with people like my family? Kathy has no idea who I am, what I've really been through, what I'm really going through. She says things like, all of these people have helped you. Daywave Radio sent me $50 claiming to be buying my life story, and I sent it back to them because I didn't want anybody owning my life story but me. I don't want my story told by people that hate me. That's why I told it myself when I wrote my books. There are 2 of them. I'm working on a 3rd. When Kathy says I've never accomplished anything, I've published 2 books. How many books has she published? She wasn't even on YouTube until she decided to take me down. She wants to talk about how many videos I have up about her. Her entire channel exists to attack me. And she's already deleted 52 of the videos. Like, the really disgusting stuff she was saying, she deleted around the time that she told me she was suing me for slander and defamation and extortion. A lawsuit that I never received anything from, and I'm assuming they must have forged the paperwork to win, because why would she be so confident in the fact that she was suing me if she didn't actually sue me? You know, this woman, she very clearly knows what she's saying, and she never ever lies, and she's so perfect. If she says that she's suing you, even if you never receive the court documents, you better believe that she sued you and won. Because that's how it is. I'm not denying that my Kathy, I'm not saying Aunt, I'm saying Kathy, has raised children who are productive and happy and has a large family. Those children did not grow up in my house. I don't think they ever even met my father where they would remember him. So how is it even fair to compare the 2? It's not, but it won't stop you. And that family, all of them, that's why I don't contact them. Can you imagine having them talk to this way when you're genuinely trying to heal and get on? I really don't like watching her videos, and I probably won't watch it anymore. I wanted to document it so that other people can really, because she'll say that I'm lying about everything that I've said in this video. I'm really not. She does not see me as I am because she has gotten so adjusted to me being the family scapegoat and punching bag. I'm the one to blame. I'm the one to look down on. I'm the one to be better than. I'm the one that's worthless garbage that the family doesn't swim with.